Billionaires bought your media, so what will you do to take it back? In the remaining days before the election, millions will be spent to spread disinformation. Hey folks, it's Kathleen, Executive Director of Progress Texas, the largest progressive digital network in Texas. We fight billionaire-backed lies with progressive podcasts and digital media that does year-round what the far right has been doing for decades, informing, educating, and building trust. Join us and invest in the real free press during our sustaining membership drive. Your donation turns out our unique audience of independents, progressives, and young voters. They are the Texans who will decide this election.
My name is Ben Leffler. Campaigns are year to year, and we need something that is permanent, that's putting out a progressive voice, that's putting out progressive messaging, that's activating people, that's doing all the things that a campaign can't do. Campaigns end, but we know that we have Progress Texas to put out a positive message that's connecting Texans around progressive values.
Happy Friday! It's August 7th, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch. I'm Tatum Owens. Progress Texas amplifies progressive values, leaders, and actions. Through our no-paywall podcast and digital media, we make Texas politics easy to understand and participate in, and your support for fact-based independent media hands the mic to millions of Texans. We can't do what we do without your support. Our thanks to Jessica Ely, Danette Mann, and Carol Mannon for their support. DFW has been the chaotic center of this week's news, and today's top story is no exception, with conservative-driven culture wars crusading in our county governments. While many are still watching the Tarrant County Commissioner's Court after Tim O'Hare's blatant attempt to suppress black and brown votes in DFW and resulting outrage from dozens of advocates, Cecilia Lenzen at the Fort Worth Report shares that another group of advocates in the area is concerned about the rise in Christian nationalism in county government as well. Lenzen reports that the League of Women Voters of Tarrant County is holding a forum to discuss how Christian nationalism undermines democracy, noting a rise in its influence on the area. The LWV is not alone. Progress Texas and many other news outlets have covered the rise in Islamophobia as part of this crusade in the last year, with DFW bearing the brunt of this culture war. Just this week, Lily Kirsch of the Dallas Morning News reported on the McKinney City Council's decision to approve a mosque. This simple, bureaucratic approval for a mosque site plan for the Islamic Association of the area, including a sanctuary, gym, and classroom building compliant with zoning measures, incited an inflamed response from dozens of attendees in opposition. Boos filled the room to City Council member Justin Beller's warnings to, quote, resist this reckless political rhetoric which amounts to election year fear-mongering, unquote. Cheers came when the Pledge of Allegiance was read and shouts erupted bellowing, "One nation under God." And signs in the room held by elderly white women wearing red featured the phrases, "Stop Islamic invasion," and "Don't Sharia my Texas," which, might I just add, I'm so tired of specifically that phrasing, like California's pretty great. Find a new racism format. Of course, these same slogans are spouted by some of our own state representatives, like Rep. Keith Self in McKinney, who provoked the crowd, warning of the encroachment of, quote, political Islam, unquote. So these ideas are not fringe, unfortunately, and in fact, this rise in Islamophobia is being touted by top leaders in the Republican Party and downwards. Allegra Hobbs at Texas Monthly writes on the GOP's messaging war as it relates to the McKinney Mosque outrage. Hobbs demonstrates this election year fear-mongering, as Beller put it, by highlighting how this site plan was first brought to the Planning and Zoning Commission in 2024. That meeting would be unrecognizable to the crowded room this week. Bureaucratic and simple, the site plan to accommodate a growing congregation was rejected for its size or impact on the area in 24, and the word Sharia was not spoken once. However, as the association brought this plan back to the council, with smaller buildings, I'll add, this year, they found themselves in an entirely new political climate, and an outsized response inflamed by the kindling of racism and Christian nationalism since. Hobbs points to the obvious point of the GOP from demonizing immigrants, primarily Hispanics and Latinos, to a post-9/11 reminiscent scapegoating of Muslims. This arbitrary battle has been fought by those seeking re-election this year, including Greg Abbott himself, leading the fight declaring CARE a terrorist organization, Beau French for Railroad Commissioner, and many down-ballot Republican candidates following in Islamophobic suit. I recommend you read Hobbs' full article for the vast responses seeping in some of the most vitriolic racist remarks I've seen on display at a council meeting. But you can take a quick trip down that road to Frisco, and some of the same hate will be present, which caused their city council to restrict public comments for the disruption of meetings by nationalistic protesters railing on about H-1B fraud and mosques. The council is restoring testimony as of this week. No one drives this rhetoric better than the True Texas Project, who are trying to establish a legislative blueprint to, quote, stop the Islamification of Texas, unquote. Sarah Bahari at the Dallas Morning News writes on some of the policies they've promoted, which span a wide range to include, quote, a ban on the sale of halal foods, hijabs forbidden in public schools, required school lessons on the, quote, violence and political domination of Islam, unquote. All items which cement this rhetoric into policy that would demonize and restrict the freedoms of our Muslim neighbors, only 2% of our state population, by the way, making it nearly impossible to practice their religion. Extremely worrisome as we head into the next legislative session. But I wonder how this rhetoric will be on display post-election. Will it matter any longer to Republicans if they don't have to fear-monger for votes? Further connecting this Christian nationalist Islamophobia thread to the GOP, you'll remember that much of that rhetoric was shown at the Texas Republican Convention, when Muslim members were told to leave. Going forward, as President Trump and the National Republican Party prepare for their first midterm convention, taking place in Dallas, I have to wonder what remarks and policies will come out of that. Sally Elvila Edwards at the Dallas Morning News reminds us that this event will occur in just under a month starting September 9th. Listeners, as we head into the weekend and can expect a heated couple of months as we approach the election, I invite you to celebrate freedom and democracy and our shared beliefs that unite us, not divide us. This week was the 61st anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, and I hope that you enjoy this celebration and the next several months with friends, family, and neighbors of all creed. And as you begin the weekend, our In Progress Roundtable show will be on the radio this Sunday in both Houston and San Marcos. Catch us in Houston on KPFT's HD2 channel, adjacent to 90.1 FM at 11 a.m. And also on Sunday, catch In Progress on KZSM, True Community Radio, 104.1 FM in San Marcos. With your support, we hope to continue to expand our radio footprint across Texas this year. Click the link in the show notes to make your tax-deductible donation to help us reach new audiences via Texas radio. This election year, you can support the Real Free Press by investing in pro-democracy, pro-justice, progressive storytelling, delivered by Texans for Texans. Join Progress Texas this summer ahead of the midterms and become a monthly donor today, or increase your giving during our summer sustaining donor drive. With your partnership, we can reach more independents, progressives, and young voters who must be mobilized to win elections this fall. And we'll thank you with Perks for Progress, your choice from our exclusive Resist coffee mug, a sweet Progress Texas summer koozie, and a progressive button pack. Plus, you'll get a shout out on the Daily Dispatch. See the link in the show notes or hit progresstexas.org to join the family during our summer sustaining donor drive. That is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this week. Links to all of the original stories can be found in our show notes. Learn more about what we do and how you can get involved at progresstexas.org. I'm Tatum. Thanks for listening and see you next week.